welcome everybody as you come in. We're going to get started in just a few minutes.
Where is everybody?
Is it going out to all the places?
I guess we'll go ahead and get started. Hopefully some people are on already. If you want to post a comment, say hi to Gretchen and Beth. Ask any questions. We'll try to catch them. We'll have some time at the end for Q&A as well. You may notice that there's only 3 of us here right now. Good old Dan Navarro. There's an old joke that he hated in Lowen and Navarro. And in all honesty, Dan was never late for a show. But anytime it was time to go somewhere, everybody's favorite radio station was WFD, waiting for Dan. We are waiting for Dan, and he may or may not make it. He's actually got a really incredibly good reason. His son, Joseph, tore his ACL about a week ago and had surgery that instead of starting at 10, started at like 12:30. And at 5:08, he was still not out and ready to drive home. So there's a chance that Dan will make it, but if not, we're in good company with good friends Beth Nielsen Chapman and Gretchen Peters. I'm Donald Davidoff of Fan Club Cruises, and anyway, let me go ahead and introduce Beth and Gretchen. Beth, why don't you say hi? I'll put you on the spot to give a little bit of your background to folks who may not know you.
I'm Beth Nielsen Chapman in Nashville, Tennessee. Great to be here, and I can't wait to go on my first ever cruise ever. I'm excited.
First ever cruise, like
First ever.
on any
Ever.
boat
Ever.
anywhere?
On any boat anywhere.
Wow.
I've been on fishing boats to go like 2 miles out to get some fish and come back.
This will be quite different, I think.
I know. I'm so excited.
Yeah, it'll and it's quite a first cruise to have to be on a riverboat as opposed to one of the larger ships that we usually do with Fan Club Cruises. But for those of you who don't know it, the reason we're doing the riverboat, aside from the fact that it's an incredible experience, is if Dan were here to tell you himself, it's his 20th cruise. So we did 12 with Lowen and Navarro, 7 with just Dan, and this being his 20th overall. Several years ago, he and I started talking about sort of go big or go home. How could we go big or go home? And I told him that my father's dream was always to charter a boat. And for all the years that he ran the travel agency, never quite got there. So we chartered the boat. And I will tell you, there was a lump in my throat when I signed the contract because it's not a small fee to charter a 64 cabin riverboat. But everything's been going great. I see a question, which cruise line? It's Avalon Waterways. So Avalon Waterways is one of the more contemporary and upscale lines running the rivers in Europe. We'll show a whole lot about that in just a moment. But anyway, as I said, we're actually down to only 12 cabins left to sell. So we've had 48 out of the 60. There's 64 cabins on the boat itself, and everything's going really well. Wanted to pull everybody together, not only to let folks who maybe are thinking about the cruise learn about it, but more importantly, some of you folks, like I see Torsten from Germany. Hey, Torsten. I see Kathy. Several of you have signed up. I mean, some of you signed up 2 years ago, right? We were supposed to go last May, and this little disease got in the way. Mm-hmm. So I just thought after 2 years of waiting, and we're still just under a year away, let's have some fun together and show everybody a little bit about the cruise. Gretchen, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
I am Gretchen Peters. I'm here in Nashville, also in a different quadrant from Beth. And this is my husband, Barry Walsh, who will also be on the cruise with us, playing accordion and keyboard. And we were talking earlier before the show about potentially, if we need to, we can use the accordion for an anchor, if it comes up. And we're really excited. Some of these places that we're stopping on the cruise, we've been, some of them we've played before, and some of them are completely new to us. Budapest, I'm really looking forward to seeing. Always wanted to go there, so it's going to be great.
It's spectacular. I actually went to Budapest in 1986. My single memory of that is it was my father was president or was on the board, was I think treasurer of the American Society of Travel Agents, and took me along to that conference. And one of the traditions was the next year's host sponsored a big lunch. And the next year's host was Miami. And Miami wanted to serve paella. And while paella is really quite good, they had to use all local ingredients. So paella made with ingredients found in Budapest was actually quite fascinating.
That's interesting.
Wow.
Eels. I'm guessing eels.
I do remember like this massive pot, because there were literally 5,000 travel agents to be fed.
God.
And I remember seeing this pot that they were cooking it in that was, larger than my house. So that was my
Wow.
recollection of Budapest, believe it or
Wow.
not.
That's amazing.
Well, we're going to talk some more about.
Somebody's asking, Donald. Somebody's asking, when is this cruise? Do you have the dates?
Oh
on the
yes,
top of your
the
head?
cruise. The cruise is October 5th to 12th,
2022. Yeah.
Yes, 2022. It leaves from Nuremberg and arrives in Budapest. And in a little bit, we'll go through all the, we'll go through the itinerary in more detail. What I'm going to do right now is awkwardly share my screen. Given that I work in the business world, I have lots of PowerPoints.
I'm going to
So
gracefully
let's-
drink my wine while you do that.
You do that. I actually suddenly realized I keep forgetting I share it and then I have to add it to the stream.
There
And
you
now
go.
it looks really ugly, but it
Ooh.
will look pretty in a moment. There we go.
Ba-na.
So here we go, November 3rd, 2021, talking about the Danube cruise with Dan Navarro, Gretchen Peters, and Beth Nielsen Chapman. Let's dive right into this. Somebody had asked where it goes, so you can see the dates and places right there. So we're going to leave Nuremberg on Wednesday, October 5th. We will go to the city of Roth, on to Regensburg, Passau and Linz, Dürnstein and Vienna. When we get to the itinerary deep dive, I'll talk a little bit about Dürnstein, probably my favorite small town in all of Europe. Then an overnight in Vienna, so that's super cool. And then we arrive in Budapest and have an overnight in Budapest. So lots of time in Vienna and in Budapest. That's the itinerary.
Wow.
Here's the boat we're going to be on, the Tranquility II. As I mentioned, 64 cabins, so 12 staterooms on the Indigo deck. And I'll go into the cabins in a moment. 52 different suites, right? It's only a 6-year, by then it'll be 7-year-old boat, over a football field long, plenty of crew, right? So carries a maximum of 128 passengers with 37 full crew. The way these river boats work, you can see a few cabins on the bottom deck. This is all crew space, the white cabins there. A lot of cabins on the Sapphire deck with the dining room and a nice area off the back of the boat. And then the suites, more suites on the third deck, and that's also where the concerts will mostly be. And then a nice open area on the top deck. So, plenty of chances to get some fresh air. Really, really pleasant time of the year in Europe, being fall. The cabins themselves, there are 2 royal suites. As of now, they are sold out. So unless one of those 2 cancels, those are sold out. But they're wonderful suites, 300 square feet. The majority of the suites, the promenade, the A's and the B's, those are all 200 square feet. The P's are on the higher deck, so that's why they're a little nicer. The A's are in a slightly better location than the B's, but you can see the layout. One of the things I want to emphasize on this layout is notice, the bathroom and then the bed, and you see the side, it has this little arrow. One of the things that's really unique about Avalon Waterways is instead of having a balcony, right? Because the balcony, if this had a balcony, it would take up some space and the cabin size itself would be smaller. So instead, what they have is this floor to ceiling window that opens up, that slides, hence the arrow that you see.
So your whole
And-
room is a balcony when you open that up. right?
Exactly. That is
I
the
love
point.
that. I love
Your
that.
room becomes the balcony. Now, by the way,
Ooh.
there is a Juliet railing right there, so nobody's going to fall into the water off the side of the boat. But yeah, the whole balcony, the whole room becomes your balcony, which I just think is spectacular. So
Donald, someone's asking, what airport do we fly into for the beginning of this?
yeah, so typically either Munich or Frankfurt. As we get a little closer, I'll end up sending to folks who've reserved rooms, sort of more details on that. We're also looking into the possibility of offering a pre-tour maybe out of Prague, maybe excuse me, maybe Munich. Oktoberfest ends October 3rd, and we leave October 5th. So maybe we'll do something as an optional pre-tour, prior to the cruise. So we'll get you more details on that over the next 3 months as we put that together. And then a lot of people will want to stay in Budapest afterwards, and we can offer some options for that as well. So
I'm
thank you
super
for asking.
excited. I'm super excited because I lived in Nuremberg when I was 10 and 11, or 9, 10, and 11, Nuremberg and Munich, and I've not been back. So
wow.
just to go back to Nuremberg. And then my great-great-grandmother was born in a wheat field in Budapest. So for me personally, it's going to be an amazing journey
That is
to
spectacular.
go to those places. And all the places in between I've not seen. So that's going to be great.
No, that's wonderful. So how much do you remember of Nuremberg, Beth?
A lot, actually, because I was just coming into being a teenager, and I got my first guitar, and I was just like waking up into the world, looking around for the first time, putting my Barbie dolls away and starting to watch 6 o'clock news. So
There you go.
that was like the late 60s. So yeah,
Did you speak German?
I did for a minute, but it's all
all gone.
gone. I'm going to have to bone up on it, see if I can get a little German
Wendy
going.
is asking me if Oliver is coming. Oliver is our English lab, and if Donald would let us bring him, I would totally be up for that because he loves the water. But I don't think so.
I
Gail
think
Birch.
the transatlantic flight could be an issue
Hi,
as
Gail.
I
well.
think that could be a problem. Although he would love to swim in the Danube, I guarantee you.
I gotta also mention Gail Birch, who says 6 of us are going to Nuremberg before the cruise because we lived there, and Amy Army Brats, who graduated.
Brats,
These are my friends that I knew in the 6th grade are coming to the cruise. It's
Sweet.
crazy.
I love
amazing.
it. I absolutely love it. So the last thing on the cabins, these 12 staterooms, we have one available right now. Oh, that's brilliant. I managed to put the wrong list, the D's and E's. Sorry, there's one left. If you go to the Fan Club Cruises website, you can see what the pricing is there. But the main thing on these, they're a little bit smaller, and they just have a window, right? So this is lower in the boat, and if you open it up, then water might come in from the bottom. So it just has windows at the top. That's the main difference between the deluxe staterooms and the panorama suites. They're a bit smaller, and they just have the window, but they're still quite comfortable cabins. Okay, let's have some fun for a moment. Gretchen, I'm going to turn it over to you
Okay.
to regale us with a song.
I'm going to regale you, and we, in honor of Germany in general, we have an accordion with us. So
Except you've got the wrong one of us.
I know I do. We're going to fix this.
there you
I
go.
would lip
There you
sync,
go.
but I think she'll do a better
There we
job.
go.
Take a phone off here. I threw a rose to the matador, not sure who I was cheering for. My aim was true, my heart was full. I loved the fighter and the bull. I love like only a woman can, a very complicated man. I bound his wounds, I heard his cries, I gave him truth, I told him lies. His rage is made of many things: faithless women, wedding rings, snakes and snails and alcohol, his daddy's fist thrown through the wall. Oh, but he's beautiful when he's in the ring. The devil howls, the angels sing, sparks fly from his fingertips. fingertips, and words like birds fly from his lips. Some man is bleeding in the dirt, some woman's crying that he's hurt. He's not alive without the thrill, without the dance, without the kill. The lights go down, the people roar, they're cheering on the matador, and this is how the story goes. I knew it when I threw the rose. I come to each and every show, the woman in the second row. I watch them in their ancient dance, and I know I never stood a chance. 'Cause while other demons prance and clown, it's vanity that takes you down. I thought that I could be the one, but I'm just another hanger-on. Some man is bleeding in the dirt, some woman's crying that she's hurt. But who are we without the thrill, without the dance, without the kill? And he is bull and matador, and I'm the mother and the whore, and this is how the story goes. I knew it when I threw the rose. I threw a rose to the matador, not sure who I was cheering for. My aim was true, my heart was full. I loved the fighter and the bull.
Woo!
Wow. I cannot wait to hear more
Wow.
of that in Germany and Austria and Hungary. That is just spectacular. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Yeah, so a couple things
Oh, it
real
looks
quick.
like Dan's here.
No,
Well, he's in the comments.
He's in the chat.
yeah, well, what I
Okay.
found out was when I posted something here and sent it to all, each of you, it came as if each of you answered.
Oh.
So it was like 6 times. So
Okay,
that was
yeah.
me, that wasn't Dan.
Oh,
Okay.
For anybody who joined late, you may notice
false
that Dan.
alarm.
Yeah, you may
Yeah.
notice that Dan is not here. And in fact, I saw somebody asking how Joseph was. So for those of you who don't know, Joseph tore his ACL. He had surgery this morning. It was supposed to start around 10 or 10:30, leaving plenty of time. It started a couple, 3 hours late and even went a little long. So I did talk to Dan at 5:08 Mountain Time. And Joseph was still not out, but it was actually good news. He also, he had damaged his meniscus and they thought they might have to repair that. The good news was the meniscus was actually not in need of anything. So that'll make the recovery time a lot faster. So Dan sends his love. There's a chance he might manage to crash in before the hour is up. But meanwhile, we've got Beth and we've got Gretchen. What more do we need, right? Anyway, let's go back and talk a little bit more about the cruise. So I'm going to do the share screen thing again and hopefully do it faster this time than we add it to the stream, and then we quickly go, whoops, add it to the stream.
Technical
Let's
stuff,
try
you
this
know?
again.
Technical stuff.
Yeah, okay, here we go. Add to the stream. There we go. And now we'll share it. So let's do an itinerary deep dive. So very first city we'll start at Nuremberg, right? I won't read this whole thing, but I put some fun facts up there. Obviously well known for the Nazi rallies and the Nuremberg war trials. In fact, Gretchen, you were telling me in before this show about a little story of, I think, the last time you were in Nuremberg.
Yeah, Barry and I played there. We were just before we went live. We were trying to remember when it was. I think it was around maybe 2015, 2016. And everybody in the in the band van suddenly, it's funny playing in Germany. My dad was a pilot in World War II, so he actually bombed Germany. I mean, that was his job.
That was his gig.
Yeah, I was going to say, but you didn't bomb.
I remembered, driving, we were in the van, and in Germany, when you're touring, the distances are very long. It's a very, very big country. I think people in the United States think of European countries as all very small, but Germany's really, it's quite big. Mm-hmm. So you drive long distances when you're touring there. And I remember we were driving to Hanover, I think it was, and I suddenly thought, I have this memory of my mother telling me that my father, when he was shot down, he was on a bombing mission to bomb Hanover, and he was shot down in the North Sea. So I called her from the van and said, "Tell me about Hanover. What because I was there and it was real."
Yeah.
And so when we were playing in Nuremberg, which I remember was a great gig, we had a fantastic crowd. I remember though everybody in the van all of a sudden. We're a bunch of introverts, the whole band. So we just are like, we get in the van in the morning, we talk for an hour, and then we're like reading or something. Everybody was watching Judgment in Nuremberg before we got there, because suddenly you're like, this is real. This is a real place. We're going to be here. And it was kind of cool, just the history of it and everything. And also just what a beautiful place.
It's gorgeous. I remember
Beautiful
that
place
well.
and beautiful crowd we had that night, and I'm looking very forward to coming back.
Beth,
So beautiful.
Does that picture look familiar, Beth?
I mean, as soon as I saw that, I just went, oh my God, I remember so much when I see a visual like that. It's incredible. It's incredible. And I lived there in 67, 68, and then in 69 we moved. But so the world was pretty in a lot of upheaval during that time. And I remember I went on a school field trip. I really shouldn't have gone on this trip when I was 12, but one of the school field trips we had before the end of the year was to go to Dachau. And I remember just being so impacted by that and realizing, wow, the world is, people are nuts.
Yeah.
And I remember going, and then the next place we moved was Montgomery, Alabama, where there was so much going on in 1969. So thank God I had that guitar. I hung on to it like a life raft, and I started writing my songs to kind of get through all that. But anyway, the beauty of that city, considering what it went through during World War II, there's so much history there, There's just so much that's still there, that came through all of that. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see that.
It's a wonderful place to kick off the cruise.
Yeah.
From Nuremberg, we'll go to Roth. I mean, again, it always blows my mind when I go to Europe, right? Because, I mean, in the U.S., we think 50 years is old. We think 100 years is ancient. I mean, here's a town first mentioned in the year 1060, right? And of course, the settlement dates back even a lot older. Interesting religious history. The Huguenot refugees who had fled France because of religious persecution, many of them ended up in Roth, and it still has that feel from it. All the Gothic, Romanesque, Baroque, Neo-Gothic, etc. The architecture there is just spectacular.
Yeah, that's gorgeous.
From there, we go to Regensburg, which is kind of an old modern city, right? Students make up more than a fifth of the population. And while there will be plenty of alcohol for those who partake on the boat.
I was going to say, that means there'll be really a lot of beer.
Yeah, 500 bars in the town center alone.
Wow.
So Regensburg, boasts the largest concentration of drinking establishments, as you see there. The other thing that's kind of cool about Regensburg is it really didn't have any industrial sense back in World War II. And so, as you can see in the top paragraph, it really was unaffected by bombing. And so, 25 years of history, and it wasn't 2,500 years of history, and it wasn't destroyed at all during World War II. So that's pretty special.
Wow. And I'm amazed that it says the cathedral took almost 6 centuries to build. Wow, that's just mind-boggling.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
It is. Yeah, again, the history is just absolutely beautiful, and I love this little juxtaposition of the night view and the day view.
You're probably gonna have to keep a tracker on me because I'm gonna get lost there. I can tell you.
Barry and I have a pact. When we're touring in Europe, that if there's a cathedral, we go.
Gotta go.
Oh yes.
We that's our thing.
Yeah.
So I think if you're looking for us and we're missing, we're in the cathedral. That's where we're
along with my wife.
Yeah.
She will not only visit. I mean, the cathedrals are not only a must, but anywhere we go in Europe, she has to stop in any little church that if you can open the door or peek in.
Yeah. Well, Barry has really good luck with that, because usually if I go with him and we go in a random church or cathedral, there'll be some sort of music going on. I don't know. He's got some kind of superpower that way. So you all who are on the boat, you may want to follow Barry Walsh around with you. Just saying.
Excellent.
That's amazing.
In the middle of the cruise, we're going to hit Passau and Linz. So Passau is really interesting, the city of 3 rivers, because the Inn and the Ilz from the south and the north come into the Danube at that point. And, again, amazing architecture. Just look at the picture. And then the organ of St. Stephen's was long held to be the largest pipe organ ever in a church until a organ in Los Angeles was expanded in 1994. So I can't even I read the number and I can't even fathom 17,774 pipes. How do we all fit?
Jeez. Maybe they'll let Barry play it. Barry, I bet you could tear it up.
Definitely follow Barry Walsh around on that day. Because, because there'll be an organ. Even if the organist is tuning the organ, it'll be incredible.
He'd be like, "Hey, I'll let you borrow my accordion if you let me play that thing."
Wow.
Woo, this is going to be so much fun.
Yes, we're going to have to follow. We'll follow Barry there for sure. Next is a short stop in Dürnstein. Dürnstein is personally my favorite town in all of Europe. It is this tiny little town, literally a 1 cobblestone street town. It resonates with me personally. I was taking my girls. Those of you who know me, I have now out of school, but at the time, our older daughter just graduated college and our younger daughter high school, 4 years apart, born 4 years apart. So that was convenient. And we went to Germany and Austria on a family trip as a graduation gift. And we stopped in Dürnstein, and we were walking the cobblestone and stopping at a little place for lunch. And I suddenly had these flashbacks and realized I had visited there with my dad back when I was in college. And those of you who know me, my dad passed away back in 2009. So I just had this little sort of channeling thing, which reminded me of how much I loved the town back then. And in particular, what's great about Dürnstein is those of you who want to just enjoy the river level, see the architecture, experience one of the little cafes. It's a very quaint little walk. And those of you that want to be a little more active, we can take a hike up to the castle. And Dürnstein and this castle are very famous because Leopold V, the Duke of Austria, actually captured captured King Richard of England, and that was a no-no. They were coming back from the Crusades, and basically because of the religious meaning of going to and coming from the Crusades, you were supposed to be afforded free passage. And this was violated, and the Pope got all upset. There's a whole story. There are plaques explaining it. The people who did it were allegedly cursed and suffered greatly afterwards, etc. So this little teeny town just has this amazing history. Here we are in Vienna, in Austria, and it's got this history tied to, King Richard of England. So fascinating place.
It's gorgeous.
Also, we'll be sailing the Wachau Valley, which is some of the prettiest spots on the Danube. Then there's Vienna. What more is there to say? I mean, Vienna, heart of the Habsburg Empire. There's just so much to see and do. We're staying there overnight, which will give us that much more time and a chance to enjoy the nightlife of Vienna. But you could spend a year in Vienna and not see everything. So
I've always wanted to go to Vienna. I've never been there. It's amazing. Gorgeous.
Here comes the chance.
I know.
Indeed. And then, of course, we'll finish in Budapest. So, the name Budapest actually tells you the topography. Buda means hills in Magyar, and Pest means valley. And so one of the things that you will see in Budapest is the Danube splits the Buda side, the hilly side, from the Pest side, the plains. And there are a number of places where there's just these stunning views that you can see the plains on the one side, the hills on the other. A lot of other little fun facts. I mean, I love this second bullet here, right? No building in Budapest is taller than 96 meters because that represents the year when the Magyars settled in the area, the year of 1896. So they don't allow any building to be greater than 96 meters. Kind of amusing.
We can take a tip from them over here.
Yeah.
In Nashville.
Totally.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
I don't even know
Nashville's
how to
having
find my
quite-
way around Nashville anymore. It's just totally changed. But man.
Yeah. My day job's in the rental housing world, and Nashville is on fire when it comes to development. My industry hasn't found a space it doesn't want to put apartments in Nashville. A lot of other interesting things, right? The Cave Church. If you stay any extra time in Budapest, it's about a 30-minute detour, but it's well worth it. There's just so much. I mean, Budapest is just, it's one of the great capitals of Europe, and amazing to see. Earlier, there was a question about insurance. So let me answer that right now. We do highly recommend insurance for all sorts of reasons, particularly if you get ill during the trip. It has some medical coverage, it has repatriation coverage, etc. We were able to get our group rates from a couple years ago extended into this cruise. So anybody who wants to see what the insurance coverage is and the costs, you can just go to that Fan Club Cruises website, and then you can, if you click on the fine print, there'll be a link to the brochure that explains insurance. And feel free to call me or send me an email if you have any questions. Insurance is always a bit of a complex thing, but highly recommended, especially because if you do have something happen to you overseas, the cost of repatriation can be quite large, and that will definitely help with that. So, meant to answer that question earlier, but thank you, Susan, for asking. I think I saw Paul Wilberger posted an answer, but somebody else had asked a question if this was being recorded and will be posted. This will be available on all three performers' websites after we're done, and once we get Dan back and he can help me, get that recording off to Beth and Gretchen.
Hey Donald,
Okay.
I have a question. It's probably
go ahead.
really a dumb question, but I was just curious about, has anything changed in terms of passports and stuff, considering the Brexit thing?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I mean, we're going to Europe, so Brexit doesn't really apply at all.
Okay.
We're still going into Europe. You don't need a visa to get into any of these places. I mean, the COVID protocols, who knows what it'll be a year from now. Current rules, there's no trouble getting into Europe with proof of vaccination. No need for a negative COVID test right now.
Yeah.
On the way back, there is a need for a COVID test within 3 days of departure. That's today rules. A year from now, I hope they'll be a lot less onerous. If we are still in a place where we need to do that, then we'll coordinate with the cruise line and figure out a way, hopefully, to just bring somebody onto the ship and just do the testing for anybody who is leaving shortly afterwards.
That would be great. Also,
Yeah.
Carol is asking, does insurance cover pandemics? Which
Yes,
is a
the
good
insurance. So the insurance does cover any issues, any illness, whatever the cause.
question.
So COVID doesn't really change that. I mean, obviously, if you're feeling ill before you get on, before you go, then you shouldn't come. But if you've bought the insurance, then you'll get the money refunded through the insurance. But yes, there are no exceptions for COVID right now. That's one of the good things, that we still have the rates from the group being transferred. Frankly, a new policy today would be more expensive, but we were able to get grandfathered since the trip had just shifted.
Oh, that's
Right.
good. Yeah.
And then what's the weather going to be in October? Is it going to be cold?
It'll be. It's fall, so it could be anything. Frankly, with global warming, it's been warmer in October than in past years. I would say, it's the age-old saw, right? Bring layers. Certainly, the evenings will be a little cooler. It definitely could rain, so you want to have rain gear. And then, being on the boat, as the boat moves, it creates its own wind. So there you go. Okay.
Gotcha.
So there's another comment here. I think you need to check with insurance also if countries won't let you in. Are you covered? If there's anything that causes the trip to not happen, either the cruise line will end up, will offer change dates or a refund, and then insurance, would cover anything else. It is good. It is obviously good to make sure you have proof of your American medical coverage as well when you come.
What about the low water level question there? Any concern?
There, any concerns about low water levels? The area that we're traveling rarely has any issues. But there's any riverboat cruising, there's always some risk that if there's low water levels, that they may have to bus us between certain cities. But I really don't expect any problems this time of year on the Danube. That's usually, when that's a problem, it's usually in some other areas. Okay? So at this point, I think it's your turn, Beth. What are you going to share?
Just happen to have my guitar here.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to play the song that helped put my son through college.
That'll work.
It's one of my faves for obvious reasons.
Perfect.
This one's been a good one for me. It was a big hit for Faith Hill, and I wrote it with Annie Roboff and Robin Lerner. And it goes like this. Do-do-do-do-do. I don't want another heartbreak. I don't need another turn to cry. No, I don't want to learn the hard way. Baby, hello. Oh no, goodbye. But you got me like a rocket, shooting straight across the sky. It's the way you love me. It's a feeling like this. It's centrifugal motion. It's perpetual bliss. It's that pivotal moment. It's impossible. This kiss. I hope y'all are singing with me. Unstoppable. This kiss. Cinderella said to Snow White, how does love get so off course? So all I wanted was a white knight with a good heart, soft touch, fast horse. Ride me off into the sunset, baby, I'm forever yours. It's the way you love me. It's a feeling like this. It's centrifugal motion. It's perpetual bliss. It's that pivotal moment. It's subliminal. This kiss. It's criminal. This kiss. You can kiss me in the moonlight, on a rooftop under the sky. Oh, you can kiss me with the windows open while the rain comes blowing inside. Oh, kiss me in sweet slow motion. Let's let everything slide. You've got me floating. You've got me flying. It's the way you love me. Centrifugal.
Excellent.
Woo!
Oops, let's go that way. There we go. That is wonderful.
Thank you, thank you. Oh, actual applause on a live stream.
There you go. Hey, so Beth, I got to ask, do you
Yeah.
ever compare notes with Dan, what it's like writing a big hit for a big star?
Oh yeah, we've had some great. I mean, he's got such great stories. I mean, every song, and Gretchen's had some huge hits too. It's interesting what most people don't realize, and I'm curious to see if Gretchen's had this same experience. But I've had several songs that were pretty big hits, and never has anybody recognized it like right out of the box. It's been like at least a year, sometimes 2 years. And in one case, 5 years. The song 5 Minutes that was a hit for Lori Morgan took 5 years to get recorded, which
Wow.
actually then Gretchen wrote a really cool song, totally different kind of song called 5 Minutes. But anyway, it's been fascinating because, you finish a song and of course most songwriters go, this is a hit. We kind of think I think they're all hits until, that's the excitement of finishing a new song that you're excited about. And then you play it for everybody. And, when This Kiss was nominated, it was Song of the Year in 1999. And we got invited to the ASCAP Pop Awards. And I had Brandy and the Judds and, Winona, Reba coming up to me saying, man, I wish you'd have played me that song. I said, we sent it to you. We sent it to all of you people. Nobody wanted it until it was time for, and I think sometimes you just write ahead of time,
Yeah.
You write a song before it's ready for, the world's ready for it.
Everybody wants the song after somebody else makes it a hit,
Of
right?
course. Well, then they all hear, oh, of course that's a hit. I would have known that right away. So, they go, well, here's my other new song. This is a hit too. And they go, well,
Yeah.
Has that happened to you, Gretchen, when you've written like Independence
it's
Day?
happened all different ways. I mean, on A Bus to St. Cloud, I went in the studio and recorded the demo, and the bass player who was on the demo, as was Barry, the bass player was Dave Pomeroy, who was working on Trisha Yearwood's album.
Right.
Took it to her that day, and 2 days later she cut it. So it can happen that quickly. But again, same artist, Trisha Yearwood, the song I played earlier, The Matador, she just recorded last year.
Oh, great.
And that song had been around for almost, I don't know, 8 years, 8 years.
Yeah.
They just kind of they all happen when they're gonna happen.
Yeah, they have their own
thing.
thing.
I think you have to sort of, as a songwriter, adopt a sort of zen state of mind about it,
Yeah.
because you can't. You may there are songs that I've written, and I'm sure this is true with you, Beth, that no one's recorded, that I still feel
And they are.
there's a place for this somewhere.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just it'll happen at some point, or it won't. But that's not our job.
So it's a
Yeah.
50-50 chance, right?
Well, it's sometimes just
It'll happen or not.
it'll just happen or not. Yeah, but
Yeah.
then that's the thing. When you're writing, you can't be writing to have the success. You have to write just because you're going to write that song anyway.
And I think one of the things, it wasn't my main motivator, but one of the things about being an artist as well as a songwriter is if I really feel if I feel very strongly about a song, I record it. I put it out, I put it out there in the world, and then maybe someone like Trisha comes along, like happened with that song, and records it again, but maybe not.
And it's really fascinating how people will come up to me and say, "Don't you regret giving that song to Faith Hill?" And I'm like, "No, I
Not
do
at
not
all.
regret.
Yeah.
I could still have my own version of it, and I did.
I think that was more a mentality in the 90s and
Yeah.
the early 2000s, where you would save a song for someone.
Yeah.
And there was this idea that only one artist could cut the song and have it. And
Yeah,
I
but think about all those great songs. Linda Ronstadt did re-recordings of great hits.
I think people are getting away from that. Thank goodness,
I have a funny story about Trisha Yearwood because she had a song I wrote called "Down on My Knees," which was the first one of mine that she cut. And she was working as a receptionist at MTM, where I was writing in the little writer's room on the other side of the wall. And she was answering the phone, and I didn't even know she sang. And at the time, I was really frustrated because I wanted somebody to sign me as an artist, and nobody was signing me. And I was like, why doesn't anybody want me? And ironically, that song, "I Don't Know Why You Don't Want Me," was like #1 that week. But anyway, she ended up coming to the Bluebird, and And Garth Fundis brought her there, and he said, Trisha wants to hear Down on My Knees, and I hadn't even recorded it yet. And I'm like, how does she even know that? And then I realized, oh my God, that's the receptionist. Wait, wait. And so, yeah. And I was like, how can the receptionist get a record deal before me? And then I heard her sing, and I was like, well, that's how, she's such a great singer. So there's a lot of war stories we'll be sharing with y'all on the cruise.
Absolutely, yes, yes. You
Well,
can
and
hear all of this and more on the boat.
Oh yeah.
And the cool thing about this, like, so some of the people here know, I've actually done a couple of small boat charters in Croatia. So folks who know Radislav Lorkovic,
Yeah.
and we've now done 2. We just did one this last September, which is just a 19 cabin boat. And having done the big ships many, many times, and don't get me wrong, big ships are great. Fan club cruises, it's a group. Within, we have our own little bubble, private events, private concerts, etc. It's wonderful, but there's nothing like owning the boat. And my first thought when I got on the 19 cabin boat, knowing that we were going to do this allegedly last May, was like, oh, I wonder what this is going to be like when we have a 64 cabin riverboat. Right. So the fact that we own the boat, that everybody is together, it's really quite spectacular. And, everybody knows how approachable Dan is. Obviously both of you very, very similar, or, you wouldn't want to do this sort of thing. So yeah, a chance to just get to know each other, and, some of the biggest friendships. In fact, Dan will tell the story. If he was on, he would tell the story. It's gotten to a point now where he asks some of his fans why they keep coming on his cruises. And they answer back, we don't come on the cruise to see you, Dan. We come on the cruise to
see all our friends.
10 years ago.
Yeah.
On these. So
Yeah.
it really will be spectacular. So let's go into the last little segment. We'll get everybody. I got to go back and try this share thing again, and we'll just talk a little bit more about the cruise and the ship and the activities. So add it to the stream. Quickly move over so it's not too ugly. There's a wonderful picture of Beth, and here we go. Okay. So, candidly, a river cruise is not inexpensive. But for anybody who's ever bought a big ship cruise, please recognize, right, complimentary Wi-Fi. Every single port has a tour included. There are some optional longer excursions. Optional always ends up meaning extra cost. But every port, every stop has an included tour. I mentioned the Wi-Fi, drinks at, beer and wine at meals are included. So there's a whole lot more included in this kind of cruise. You can see, I also love the fact that, they have some bikes you can borrow, walking sticks, binoculars, etc. Lots of different shore excursions. Actually, I'll get to that in a minute. On the dining side, there are vegetarian options at every meal. If anybody is vegan or has any allergy issues, please email me, or when you sign up, when you book, there's a special request field. Enter that in there. We can absolutely take care of any kind of dietary need, but knowing about it ahead of time will obviously really help. I won't bore you reading all this stuff, but you can see all the different things that are included. You will not go hungry, I promise you that. And then Avalon, one of their concepts, again, it's contemporary river cruising. So the concept is to offer a lot of variety. So I gave just some examples here, right? They have classic tours. So the Nuremberg Rally, very classic. It's the same, same kind of tour that would have been done 20 years ago, 40 years ago, et cetera. A walking tour in Passau. That's not to understate the quality, right? It's a great experience, but it's very classic touring. But then there's discovery tours, right? So like the Regensburg walking tour, followed by the bratwurst discovery. I don't know about you, but I am looking forward to the bratwurst discovery.
Just to undo all that walking, just have some bratwurst,
Exactly.
like one bratwurst.
I think they should probably reverse it. We should probably eat the bratwurst first and then go for the walk.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm curious, like how many different bratwursts they're going to have, and that's going to be really quite interesting. And then there are active options as well. So as I mentioned earlier, the opportunity to hike up to the castle in Dürnstein, biking I think that one's in Vienna. There's a couple others. I just want to show a couple examples. So, if you're active, there's biking and hiking and other activities. And I mentioned that Dürnstein hike. It's got a little bit of vertical to it. It's not just a stroll along the street. Or you can take the strolls along the street and also have these discovery experiences. So really, really cool, wide range of activities. It's not just just the standard tours. I mentioned earlier the cabins, just pictures.
I love that you can see out the window. That is so beautiful.
Wow.
Well, and remember we mentioned the cabin is the balcony,
Yeah.
the sliding door. You can see the railing and the sliding door. And then from here, taking the picture inside the other way. So really, really spectacular. The deluxe staterooms, again, they have the windows up here. The water line is not far from there, which is why the windows are up high. But again, a very comfortable experience.
One of the reasons I've never done a cruise is because I haven't been sure I want to be stuck out in the middle of the ocean, not being able to see land. But I love this because I'm always going to be able to see the land, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'll also put a plug in for our Alaska cruises. I know a number of people, almost every day in an Alaska cruise, you got land on both sides. It's a whole different experience.
We'll
The
do
sort
that
of
one too.
stereotypical.
Yeah,
Say that
we
again?
want to sign up for that.
We
Yeah.
wanna sign for that.
Okay. Well, we're gonna do this in next year, and then in 23 we'll get you on an Alaska cruise.
We're
I
up
love that.
down with that for sure.
Yep, absolutely. And so again, I just listed a bunch of the different things that Avalon offers. I certainly intend to take some free time and borrow one of those complimentary bikes, and see what we can do. So really, really looking forward to all that. This is where Dan would actually
Aw.
have a moment. So.
We belong to the night. We
Well,
belong to the da-da. We should have worked that up.
Yeah, I was going to say I meant to ask in our pre-chat whether
belong
you do
to-
that well enough.
He's been posting. I mean, Brandy Carlisle did it. I mean, he's had some huge artists
God.
doing that song. It's such a great song.
It is.
He's got a
truly-
bunch of great songs, that guy.
It's truly amazing the legs that song has had,
Yeah.
and still has. What do I say had? I mean, it is the gift that keeps on giving. It will be Joseph's, Joseph's, what's the word? You bequest to somebody, inheritance. That's the word.
Yeah.
Joseph's inheritance.
Yeah.
I wish I had a dad who wrote "We Belong" so I could get that inheritance.
That's brilliant. It's a brilliant song.
Let's see. Torsten was asking, do you take part in this cruise? Torsten, if you're asking me, yes, I will be along as the tour director. Gretchen and Beth and Dan will be the entertainment. I have this deep wish that somehow I was enough of a comedian to be the entertainment, but I know better. And you do not want to hear me sing. But we'll have the whole gang along. Paul Wilpiger will be joining us as well. Trying to think. I'm trying
Seth
to
is
look through the
Seth
questions.
has already booked the Alaska tour. Seth, I hope you're coming to our tour too. By the way, friend of mine.
Yes. Just
And
looking
we
through to
have,
make sure.
as
that-
well as concerts, Donald, we have like sort of Q&A kind of sessions on the boat, right?
So we'll have one formal Q&A session. We'll have a couple of formal concerts. We'll intersperse them. I want to have one. Most of them will be evening, but one daytime as we're sailing. The Q&A session will kind of be like this, only with obviously Dan will join us, and we'll have that kind of stuff. The other thing that has made this really feel special for me, and I'm looking forward to it, is the things that we don't even know are going to happen, right? Like both of you have known Dan for a while. You've both played with him before. You're among some of his.
We've all collaborated quite a bit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, who the heck knows what's actually going to happen? At any
Oh, there's
point
going to
in
be
time.
harmonies, and there's going to be some accordion on my songs too.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
once I work a deal
Who can
out
we
with
call?
Barry. And
Well,
some
I was gonna say,
piano.
I mean, accordion was a big part of Lowen and Navarro, so there's definitely
yeah.
some room for Barry to fit in there as well.
I mean, the
Definitely.
thing is, because of the pandemic, we've only been able to do music through streaming on Zoom and stuff. To be in 3 dimensions and be able to jam is going to be some serious business.
Yeah,
So,
definitely. That's like the thing that we've, I think, all been craving and missing for the last 18
So much.
months.
Oh God.
Is to be able to be in the same room and
Yeah.
and make music together. So that's
Polka night
Yeah,
is
they'll
gonna
probably
be
have to
lit.
shut us down at 2 in the morning. They're
Polka
probably
night-
going to. What's
You
that,
know the-
Barry?
Polka night is going to be lit.
Yes. Well, I was going to say the beautiful thing about owning the boat for the week is I don't think they can shut us down, right?
I know.
I don't know why. I don't know
Yeah.
how. I mean,
You'll be going like Beth, Gretchen. Y'all need to hold it down. These people need to sleep because tomorrow we're going to like Budapest. And,
Yeah.
yeah.
So just a couple minutes left. If again, we've got the chat box. If anybody has any other questions, please don't hesitate to post another question in the comments. And otherwise, I think I'll just thank everybody. I mean, we had I think we had close to 100 people at one point. I still see 82
Wow, that's
intrepid
great.
souls still with us. Wow. Beth and Gretchen, thanks so much for doing this.
absolutely. Hey, I do have a question. Will this be archived on our respective
Yes.
Facebook and YouTube channels? So
Yes,
Great.
we'll get you that detail. We'll get you that copy at the end of this. and
Because
you
I
can
did
post it.
see a couple questions go by of people that were cooking dinner and doing whatever and couldn't pay complete attention.
Yeah, I think
Absolutely.
it'll just be out there on Facebook
So
and
they can
YouTube.
go back
I think.
and
Yeah,
revisit.
it'll be out there as well. I see
Great.
question assigned seating for dinner. No, it'll be open seating, so you can mix and match as you go along. We're not going to, we're not going to have some of the formality of a larger ship. We'll keep it really informal. It is absolutely resort casual dress the entire time. No dress up nights. We'll just enjoy our time together.
Henry is asking, when do you recommend we should buy plane
Oh
fare to
God,
Europe?
what a fascinating question. So, so I mean, so a couple things. The airlines are just starting. I mean, they haven't even opened up October yet. At least the large. I checked United the other day. They're still probably somewhere 2 to 4 weeks from even opening it up. Usually, the first few days they open up, the prices look crazy. So I wait a little bit. Normally I would say wait till about 4 to 6 months in advance to get the best on international. Although I will say, it's interesting. Like I'm taking my younger daughter on her graduation gift. She graduated last May, but we couldn't do anything for obvious reasons this last summer. We're actually doing a Baltic Sea cruise in July, and I already bought the air because I saw some pretty good air out there, and United is still doing the free ticket change. So if the fare goes down, I can change the lower fare and at least get credit. I won't get cash back, but I'll get credit. So with this whole COVID thing, if there are some screaming deals out there when they start to open it up or as you watch, certainly grab it. Normally, you don't get that great a deal that far in advance. The best is, you don't get good deals close in. You don't get them way in advance. The best is in that 4 to 6 month range. But it's so hard to predict because as travel comes back, they add capacity, or if there's not enough capacity, they raise rates. I don't have great advice other than to just pay attention. And if you see something that looks reasonable, grab it. Okay?
And someone else is asking, I probably missed this, but how many cabins? I think you said, how many did you say were left?
So 64 cabins. So 4 are taken by the 3 artists and my wife and me. That leaves 60 for sale. And as of last night, or as of this morning, we had 48 already reserved. So we only have space for 12.
Okay.
So if you're listening and thinking, I expect that we will sell out.
And Lori is asking, Donald, can you help with arrangements for add-ons before and after the cruise?
It depends. We're trying to put together a couple things that you can get through us. But if you want to do something really custom, we don't really have a full service agency anymore. We just put these together. But I'm always happy to give some advice as well. So reach out to me and we'll let you know what we're doing. And if I can help you a bit, happy to do so. But anything truly custom, you'll have to do on your own. Okay?
Can't wait.
Oh, I'm so looking forward to it. I wish it was next week
Cannot
instead
wait.
of 10.
Hey man, I think we should also maybe do a little songwriting workshop, kind of masterclass
sure.
too.
We can
that'd be sort
absolutely
of fun.
do that.
We could
Absolutely.
totally do that if we have enough interest.
Yeah.
Sure, we could.
Yep.
put it
I
on.
see a question. Is it possible to upgrade the room we bought? Yes. Just email me what you want and I will make the change for you. So that's not a problem.
I've lost it in the chat, but someone said that they, looks like they won't have to wear long pants. So I think that's a personal choice. I mean, you can comment on that, Donald.
Later,
It's going to be October in Europe.
Well, I
Lederhosen,
think-
Lederhosen would be appropriate.
So those
Yeah.
those of you who know Paul Wiltberger, he only wears shorts, and I think in Germany, lederhosen will be appropriate shorts for
Yes.
Paul Wiltberger. So Torsten, I want you to bring a pair of lederhosen that Paul will have to wear. Okay.
And I also want to say, for those of you who might think you don't know how to write a song, anybody can write a song. So you don't have to have ever written a song to come to our masterclass on songwriting. You'll find out that you can write a song. Just saying. Okay.
I think that's a great idea. I did see somebody ask, when will we have the pre and post information? Give me another month or two. I've started working with the cruise line on a couple options, and we'll see how it plays out together. Okay.
Hey, if we have a crushing amount of people
Oh,
that
look
want to
at
do this.
Paul Wiltberger said, absolutely looking forward to wearing lederhosen. Look
All
at that.
right.
Great. I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Maybe if we just have a huge amount of people interested, we could just, when we get to Budapest, we could just turn around and go back to Nuremberg and just make it a double.
That is a good idea. I like that idea.
Switch out the crowd.
Well, once again, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Beth. Thank you, Gretchen.
You're so
Thank you,
welcome.
Barry. I will. I'm sure Dan will post on how Joseph's doing on his Facebook for those of you looking for information on that. And just thank you, everybody, for joining. Hope you had a good time. I know I had a great time.
It's been fun. We should do it again before next October, maybe
Well,
with Dan.
maybe we should. Well, let's talk about it.
That'd be fun.
Maybe Joseph can avoid getting surgery, and we can get Dan to join us.
Exactly.
So that'll be a help. Well, thanks again, everybody. Have a great
Thanks,
evening.
guys. Mwah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.